D-Day was a turning point in war, as we used to see it, when our allies used all new tactics that were unthought of in that time to execute a fake invasion that would help change warfare forever. The Battle of Normandy Beaches began on June 6, 1944, known as D-Day. The Battle of the Normandy Beaches resulted in the Allied liberation of Western Europe from Nazi Germany's control. This was one of the largest water assaults ever recorded. First German surprise was complete. The Fortitude operation had fixed German attention on the Bas de Calais. They were certain it would be the site of the battle, and they had placed the bulk of their panzer divisions north and east of the Seine River, where they were unavailable to counterattack in Normandy.
Expeditionary Force. Under the command of General Eisenhower, Allied naval forces, supported by strong air forces, began landing Allied armies this morning on the northern coast of France.
More than 130,000 Allies stormed the beaches of Normandy on D-Day. Within weeks, 1 million men have landed. The Allied invasion of Western Europe began.
Of Western Europe, the hour of your liberation is approaching. All patriots, men and women, young and old, have a part to play in the achievement of final victory. This landing is but the opening phase of the campaign in Western Europe. Great battles lie ahead. I call upon all who love freedom to stand with us now. Keep your faith staunch. Our arms are resolute. Together we shall achieve victory.
The Allies liberated France on August 21, 1944, paving the way for Allied victory in Europe. This is a diary entry from a World War II soldier at sea. The weather conditions for D-Day were unsatisfactory. There was very low visibility, and because of that, the decision was made not to launch the D-Day tanks. Also, the expectant and eager troops had to return to their boarding ships. Must have been another difficult task with these weather conditions. Utah Beach was added to the invasion plan so that Allies would be within striking distance of the port city of Cherbourg. Paratroopers dropped inland behind enemies. Omaha Beach was surrounded by deep cliffs and heavily defended. Omaha was one of the most bloodiest beaches in D-Day. British troops began storming Gold Beach. The Germans were surprised when they had to do a robust resistance, but in sharp contrast to Omaha. The landing craft they used struggled once again at Juno Beach with the rough seas. The landing craft, or Higgins boat, was a landing craft used extensively in amphibious landings in World War II. The craft was designed by Andrew Higgins based on boats made for operating in swamps and marshes. More than 20,000 were built by Higgins Industries and licenses. D-Day was the largest seaborne invasion in all of history. Not only were U.S. soldiers fighting the Germans, but they were also allied by the British and Canadian soldiers. Within 5 days of this enormous invasion, there were 326,547 troops and 104,428 tons of supplies on the beaches. Second German confusion was extensive. Without air reconnaissance, with Allied airborne troops dropping here, there, everywhere, with their telephone lines cut by the resistance, with their Army Corps Division and sub-regimental commanders at the war game and Rennes, the Germans were all but blind and leaderless.
The weather during the initial hours of D-Day was still not ideal. Thick clouds resulted in Allied bombs and paratroopers landing miles off target. Rough seas caused landing crafts to capsize and mortar shells to land off the mark. By noon, however, the weather had cleared and Stagg's forecast had been validated. The Germans had been caught by surprise, and the tide of the war began to turn. Rupert was a paradummy that would be used in World War II that used with other paratrooper units is meant to cause an invasion by air and exaggerate appearance. Paradummies can also be used to lure enemy soldiers into staged ambushes. They were called Rupert dolls by the English and Oscar by Americans.
In the Army because the other branches wouldn't have me. I was drafted into the Army. I didn't join it. They conscripted me. I felt myself, against my will, sliding into the infantry. And I kicked and scraped and did everything possible to avoid that. It was not to be. I wound up a dog face in the infantry. The first exposure to the Pacific was fortunate and informative and not altogether unpleasant. And as a matter of fact, the experience on the island of Oahu in Hawaii at the jungle school probably saved my life. It was a very intense 2-week training session. For the first time, when I completed that course, I had a glimmer of hope that I could survive jungle warfare and living in the jungle. Learning to kill is not a very easy lesson. But when you're put in the circumstances, when it's you or him, you're going to pull the trigger. You lose all sense of society. You become an animal. I mean, there's no roof over your head. You sleep in an open hole in the ground. If you can get a hole deep enough, you're not human anymore. You're an animal. And the only thing you have to get you home is your gun. If you're going to ask me, do you get used to it, the answer is no. But you deal with it. You deal with it. That's what we did day in and day out. It made me hard. It made me hard. It made me very hard. I think there's a hardness in me today that wouldn't have been there if not for the war. I'm not proud of that. It hardened my personality. People say, yeah, that was 50 years ago, but that experience, very few people live in a lifetime. You don't shed it like last year's coat. Or, I mean, you know, that experience is going to be with me till I die.